Welcome back to Let's Play Stasis. Last time, we discovered the most annoying vending machine in all of existence and promptly shot it. Well, promptly got 2 automated turrets to shoot it. And it soon was silenced. This time, we're gonna just ignore all the blood and move forward.
Warning. This area is off limits to all active PDT users. Please see your supervisor for further instructions.
Whoa.
That makes no sense. All PDTs. That's everyone. They must have changed security settings. Stop anyone from heading down below.
Or coming up.
Do we want to discuss why there's lightning in the medical bay? I doubt the ship has any kind of like artificial environment going on outside the med bay. Oh, or this could be a station on a planet. I guess that's also possible. Lots of PDAs. That's gonna be a delight. I had something I was going to make an observation about to do with the security system, but whoops. Oh, now I remember. So I guess we get to deal with the rogue security system now. Yeah, that's close enough to what I was going to say. That utter jerk. I cannot believe him. What kind of a man dumps a girl on their anniversary? Poor Danika's in hysterics. I had to swap shifts on account of him. Sadie made that easy enough. She's such a good friend to me. We were inseparable at nursing school until she decided to branch out into botany. Seems she's suited more to general medical research than patient care. That's fine, I don't mind. I prefer working with people to plants anyway. That new walkway in hydroponics is a bonus too. Some of our boys like to stretch their new limbs among the greenery. Who said the departments were of no use? This is selfish, I know. But I've had so much on my plate. I've had to do serious overtime and then ungrateful people like Eric. I mean, I've got even more to deal with. My poor little sister. Body of a 30-year-old, mind of a 16-year-old. Apparently he says being the pilot of the Ozymandias is just too much pressure on a relationship. As if that sweet little co-pilot he as is the sweet little co-pilot he recently acquired. I've had it up to here with pilots. Are they ever not chasing tail? Well, tonight should be okay as I've got Danica coming around with some of the girls and a shipment of Martian champagne. The budget increase is proving to be a blessing and a curse. We've got more equipment for sure, but nowhere near enough space for it. If only the Groom Lake was one of those modular types, we might be able to get some extra room. Sadie and I are working our tails off around here. God bless Sadie. If it wasn't for her, I'd probably be an alcoholic by now. Danica's still not over her jerk of an ex and calls me up crying most nights just to talk about how she misses him. Next time I see him, I'm gonna punch his lights out. I worry about Danica though. She's depressed, not eating, not sleeping. I might ask Ingratiate to book her for an appointment. She needs a shrink. Work-wise, the regeneration tanks are working beautifully. The increased demand for them means we're running short of chemical dissociation reagents though, and the cell growth regeneration fluid is pretty much spent. Speaking of the fluid, it's this new stuff Dr. Milan's unit has us been using. Excuse me. It's technically the same as the last stuff, but I'm sure the molecular composition is different. Apparently it's 4 times as effective. Seems kind of unpredictable, actually. I've already asked Dr. Harvey to request that we switch back to the old one, which he has done twice. Why are they ignoring us? Sorry, there's something itching me on my nose. Crazy huge brawl in the mess hall today. All of the guys sweating and looking like they OD'd or something. There's been a spike in violent assaults. I swear it's something to do with these new supplies that came in. Ever since that new regen fluid, it seems like everything else is slightly off too. I'm sure of it. Diet, medicines, genetic samples, you name it. I spoke to Sadie and she swears there's been tampering. The idea that we've been ingesting bad food for months scares me. I'm going to get a friend of mine to analyze some samples. Until then, I'm locking my door at night. I'm not sure who I can trust. Sadie's been giving me strange looks too. I might actually change the lock. I don't care anymore. I just don't care. I have to see Danica. I have to. She's with 2 others near the hangars, and I'm stuck here in medical. 2 rifles taken from Malone and Bird and a laser scalpel. Yep, we got a scalpel. That's all we have to get there. Sadie keeps fighting me on this and making excuses. She's starting to tick me off. Has that idiot forgotten where we are? That the Groom Lake is now a hunting ground and my sister's in the middle of it? I don't care if they don't come with me. I have to see my sister. I have to know about Danica. I heard her on the radio a day or so ago, so I know she's still alive. She has to be hiding. Danica was always better at hide-and-seek back then. Back home. It took hours to find her. Once, Mom set a search party for her, and she'd been hiding at the bottom of the garden. She's hiding. She has to be. Sadie is causing me problems. She won't come with me. I guess I'll have to make her come along, whether she wants to or not. On to the next PDA. Whee!
I think I found the crew.
Are they also bloodied up, like the guy under the floor?
You could say that. I'm not sure how many people I'm looking at. It's like something from a eugenics war painting.
Try to push through, John. A few decks below, one step at a time.
I thought we knew where the crew was. Oops. Oh. So we're on Neptune. That's good to know. I'm sure that's probably been stated somewhere before and I just didn't realize it, but... That's spooky when you start hearing noises. Stop that world. So many PDAs. I thought that becoming the new head medical tech on this deck would improve things, but it's like being thrown into the lion's den. The lockdown a few months back was a pain, but these inventory discrepancies are the real problem. And then yesterday the systems went haywire. First thing Erica does, of course, is call up her little sister to make sure she's okay. I suppose I can understand that. I just wish that, well, wish she'd ask me sometime. Ask after me sometimes, too. Yesterday, during the power outage, I was locked inside a storage room for 2 hours. But Danica's fine, of course. Who cares about me? I was only trapped in a product storage room with only plant cultures and human limbs for company. I took a look at them actually. It's part of my job, with the plants anyway, and I had nothing to do to keep in mind of things. Good specimens, all of them. Except for samples 99 D, E, and F. Couldn't for the life of me work out why samples this badly mutated would be permitted anywhere near the greenhouses. They're recent, too. Goodness, what imbecile in shipping sent these to storage? Kane's Hydroponics have the strictest quarantine regulations in the galaxy, punishable by losing your job. Oh no, your job! Oh. They act like that's the most worst punishment ever. And yes, I know the grammar there. Must be that new section a few floors down. They've got all kinds of fools on the payroll. You know, I usually like to spend time in the greenhouses, but I swear something's going funny with some of the new crops. Erica said I'm probably just imagining it. But I had a whole batch of brassica growth cultures thrown out the other day showing signs of what looked like Dutch elm disease. How is that possible? I'm going to submit a report. How am I supposed to explain to Dr. Milan and the board that we've had mutant cultures in storage and perfectly good crops with extinct diseases is another matter. Erica's lost her mind. I'm scared out of my mind right now. She's dragged us on a fool's errand across the ship to look for Danica. I tried to tell her how I saw one of those things wearing Danica's face the other morning. Oh goodness, makes me want to puke just thinking about it. It looked like a deflated balloon as it scuttled up the walls. I swear Ingratia fried it with a bolt, but we can't be sure. He's a psychiatrist, not a soldier. Then again, are any of us soldiers? Erica seems to think we're in the Marine Corps, waving around that rifle with a crazy look in her eye, threatening to kill anyone who disagrees with her. Erica, I told her, you're a nurse. Goodness, I barely recognize her anymore. What happened to my best friend? What happened to that girl from Stokely, Mississippi? I don't know who Erica Boxer is anymore. Erica died this morning. My friend is gone. One of those horrific things tore her spine out of her body right in front of my eyes. I must be one of the last ones left alive. Not that I've got long. I'm infected with something. I can feel it. I checked out the hydroponics lab this morning. It's a wreck. I could have told them, anyone could have told them, that trying to breed a new fungus to kill the old one would be disastrous. The rest of it won't budge. I've tried tearing it away with the laser scalpel Erica gave me, but it did nothing. Zip, zilch, nada. What doesn't kill it really does make it stronger. I'm gonna go back to retrieve Erica's remains later. I know she died a crazy woman, but she was still my friend. I still love her. That's the PDAs for this room, and I'm kind of I'm gonna go ahead and save. Not that that's gonna save me any time. That wasn't a cutscene. That was just me talking. There's an elevator. There's a room. It's a reception room. You know, I'm gonna go to the reception room. That seems to be a fair starting location. That's locked.
never again. It crawled through the night, and then, they grafted their eyes and tore through my skin. Oh, never ever, never again. They came for our mothers and then for our kin, scratching the girls and eating my sin, changing God's work, a seed to begin. We burned them with fire and killed them with men. Let us remember, never again.
Okay. Personal data tag detected, John Marichak. Personal data tag has no security clearance. System locked. Okay. So we ain't going to the reception area. Let's go this way! I don't know what's over here, but let's go. That is a force field. Charged plasma molecules dart across the surface of an invisible electrical field, and good grief. Oh, those are suits. I thought they were people. The suits look relatively intact, despite the new decorations spattering their surfaces. You cannot begin to estimate how many lives were ended here. Let's go poke the force field.
Several energies to the sectors.
So I don't know what he was going to say, but okay. I guess that I can just look through it. So I know we're going to get through there at some point. Let's poke the Enviro suits. What did I get? Oxygen cylinder.
Profanity, derogatory comments, or other intimidating actions directed at Kane security employees will not be tolerated.
It typically isn't tolerated versus any security employees. Or generally, you know, normal employees either. Several bent spinal hooks protrude from a disengaged personal data tag. Why would you make a data tag that has anything related to connection to your spine? I mean, unless this data tag does a lot more than just a data tag. Which wouldn't surprise me. Anesthetics. Surgery unit, at least one of these would be anesthetic. Your guess is that it's this one. This thick viscous syrup is a cocktail of cryoprotectant and synthetic amniotic fluid. The steel tank stores oxygen-rich compounds under high pressure. Let's poke it! High pressure is always good to be... Wait, why did I lose my mouse cursor?
Back. It's been cut open.
Of course! They must have manually removed the PDTs. That's why the security systems were reset in medical.
Oh, bodies. The bodies in the crew quarters. They were skinned. The creatures were using the PDTs to move through secure areas.
Must have realized what was going on.
So for me to get to the lower decks...
You have to remove your tag.
Remove?
Perhaps electric shock. No, that wouldn't work. John? This is the only surefire way.
What are you saying?
The surgery pod should already be programmed to remove it.
It didn't work out so well for this poor woman.
It's the only way, unless you space jump between decks.
See, this is surgery.
John, prep the pod.
This sounds like a horrible idea. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna pick that up, huh? Okay. Yay, another PDA! A new year for the chief surgeon and a new year for the staff of the medical deck. I have to think of it that way or it gets rather confusing. The staff of the medical deck now consists of 3 extra sections: cybernetics, tissue regeneration, and for some reason medicinal hydroponics. Medicinal plants. Yes, it may be medicinal, but as I told Dr. Milan, they are still plants. I don't wish to seem ungrateful. It is Kane Corporation who opened so many new doorways for me and who redefined the frontiers of medicine for us all. As a man who served his apprenticeship on the battlefields, elbow deep in the blood of innocence, to see those deserts and war-torn villages reborn as images of nirvana is a privilege, and all thanks to the sciences of Kane. Yet it's hard to understand why. On the Groom Lake, so many departments are being forced to share resources like this. I hear our budget will be up for review soon, and chances of us getting an increase are slim. I shall try to remain positive. My goodness, a 300% budget increase? I've not yet been able to imagine how helpful this financial windfall will be. Dr. Milan assured me that a sizable portion of the budget will be applied to Project Seed. It makes our work that much more essential. We'll order new equipment and new samples, although I don't totally agree with the ethics of Dr. Milan's acquisition of volunteers for surgery and testing. The leaps and bounds we've made in our research more make up for the rest of it. It's wrong that we must test the limits of... Is it wrong that we must test the limits of morality for the greater good? The fact you're asking that question means you know the answer. I'm a surgeon who has seen many awful things in the blood-soaked abattoirs of the Pangea Wars, so perhaps this should be second nature to me. But I don't recall agreeing to use the use of children for testing. I went to inspect the stasis tubes at the request of my chief nurse and found that there were several children, some as young as 9 years old, awaiting processing. Children? I was shocked and appalled and demanded an explanation from Dr. Milan. Edward Jenner had to test vaccines on children to see if they'd work, he said. I knew this story. What medical does not? Jenner infected purulent exudates into the child's arm, which must have seemed callous disregard for the child's life, and yet it saved the boy. That's how he convinced me. We're at the frontier of science. Chances must be taken. I do not always feel comfortable with his ethical choices, but his logic is sound. This research is too valuable for us to let a few moral qualms get in our way. Yeah, I'm sure Hitler's scientists thought the same thing. Where are they ended up? I fear that my decision to become a surgeon with Kane Corporation is not quite as simple as I thought. The first casualties of the infection spreading across the ship came to my lab, where we had to set up a quarantine operating room. I had to get hands-on with the patient for the first time in years. The flow of blood, the cutting of infected tissue using specialized tools. Ugh, I enjoyed it. It's impossible to explain the adrenaline rush from playing God in such a way, of having the lives of so many on the verge of death in your hands. I felt it on the battlefields, and I feel it now. And it's not the beauty of birth that moves me, it seems, but the pungent stench of death. I thought I'd join Kane Corporation to save my soul. Instead, it is to slake the thirst of the beast in me, whose jaws slaver at the scent of blood. I am ashamed. How could I not have seen it? Those awful little forms are disguising themselves as us, inside us. They wear our skins and our PDTs, which explains how the security systems can't detect them. If they didn't already know where those creatures came from, this would perhaps be less frightening. But they've learned, the vile abomination. Abomination. What a word that is. It seems to summarize what we have created in our hubris. We've created evil. God help us all. I assume that's why they set the security system to attack anything with a PDT. Dear all, for those of you who are still able to receive these messages on the intranet, note the word intranet is different than internet. But anyway, they're different types of network. You'll know by now that the creatures are using our PDTs to proceed past security checkpoints. To prevent this, I've decided that each in turn you'll proceed under armed guard to the primary surgery pod where your PDTs will be removed. Once this is done, we will reprogram security protocols so they will target all creatures that still possess these tags. Do not answer the door to your quarters unless confirmed by the designated password. Today the word is Aegis. I pronounce it Aegis, but I've seen people call it Aegis. Anyway. Dr. Milan has recalibrated his guidelines for subjects in Project Seed, and specifically the requirements for any female subjects who have previously been pregnant. The female subjects should ideally have been screened, but their precise source is not important. Since the project has a 99.89% chance of a non-fatal reaction in subjects, members of staff will be eligible for the test. The ideal subject is as follows. Blood type O negative, height between 5'5" and 6 foot, free of genetic defects, between 18 and 40 years old. Subjects must have recently been pregnant, ideally within the past year. Regards, Dr. C. Bachman. We have disagreed often, but never more so than now. I'm aware that Miss Callister doesn't work in surgery, and that Chief Nurse Boxer has seniority in terms of rank. However, Callister has one of the most extraordinary organizational minds I've ever worked with. Product storage areas are clean and well indexed. Therefore, I have to challenge her demand that I remove her from her position because of these false reports. She's been sending you about anomalies in the supplies. I have no doubt that your claims of her illicitly taking samples is also only an accusation. She's a fine worker and reports only what she feels is right. I will be taking no action against her. You are in charge of the project, but you must allow me to choose my staff at my own discretion. Regards, Isaiah. She's the one, I think, from the earlier PDA that was sending in reports about the oddities in the supplies. And the lady that went crazy, I think. But how do I prep the thing? How exactly does one prep the... I just...
Not properly prepared for the selecting program.
Well, how do I know that? What did I just get? An empty stasis fluid container.
To report to communications array 18.
Organic receptacle, oxygen storage, cryogenic preservation tank, and anesthetic storage. How do I know if it's... how does one... just stick an oxygen cylinder?
I'll just break it.
You act like I have a clue what I'm doing. Loose cables, obviously.
It doesn't work like that.
Imagine yourself as a doctor in a space opera, barking a sharp line of dialogue to identify this piece of machinery. So how do I know that it's... how do I find out whether it's properly set? Ah, sorry about that. Somebody came in the room and was staring over the monitors. They, apparently looking for their glasses. Tried to help find them for a while, and no luck. Moving forward, though, there's apparently a thing in here I'm supposed to find. Ah, there it is. Oozing red goop contains flecks of bone and masses of tissue. Because that's so reasonable for me to go grab that. Yeah, I also was stumped and checked for the next step.
Are you expecting a beautiful bouncy baby boy or girl? Speak to your nearest administrator for details on our enrollment and TOTS program.
Hush you.
Competition is
I'm carrying a PDT tag. Maybe I can get this door open. Oh.
We asked customers what they thought about Kane Corporation's Coca-Cola.
I love Coca-Cola. I love Coca-Cola.
I love Coca-Cola.
I love Coca-Cola.
Yay, a bunch of crazy addicted people. That's gonna help. Does this door have any kind of terminal? Does not. I'm kind of at a loss. I've got enough random items. Oh, wait, what if I... Yeah, the distorted music is totally not horribly disturbing. Aha! Yeah, I saw that part, like, at a glance when I looked up the thing. Well, I saw that it said to use the PDT to open the force field. I didn't see necessarily how to do it, hence all the poking about. Discarded stasis pod.
Tia, a survivor.
Is someone alive?
Not exactly. He's in stasis.
It can be dangerous to wake someone from stasis without the proper procedures being followed.
So who the hell woke me?
Forget him, John. You need to think about the mission.
That is not what I wanted. How do I get out of this menu? Empty stasis pod. Okay, I assume that I need to use the images there as hints for something I'm going to be doing. Yeah, 4 chemical formula. I forget what those charts are actually called. Ooh, broken terminal. This door is made from medium strength industrial compound, but has been torn apart like paper. Ooh, a chip. Chirp. Found a chirp. These femurs.
Body. 2.
Oh goodness. Be still my beating heart. I saw the most divine creature in hydroponics. She's friends with that nurse Erica. Erica gives me the evil eye, but Sadie is just a divine thing. Curves in all the right places and the face of an angel. I keep trying to come up with reasons to visit the medicinal hydroponics section. She never sees me though. I'm not trained medical staff. Those soldiers in the recovery rooms give me funny looks if I'm at the window trying to get her attention. I have to find a way to speak to her directly. I've seen her head to the decontamination area, and she seems to go there after every shift. Yes, you typically would go to a decontamination room after every shift, and at the start of every shift, when working in that kind of field. I might try and strike up a conversation by one of the machines, maybe offer to buy her a drink. I'll do it tomorrow, or maybe the day after, because tomorrow I've got a double shift. Still, it takes a brave man to work on unknown sciences in the bosom of the cosmos, doesn't it? Like the jocks back at school would ever be able to do what I do. I risk life and limb to repair essential electronics, and that takes courage. I may not be a soldier, but I think I have the right to call myself a man of courage. Brr. What's with the shutdown? 9 days now? I've been trying to get through to the surgical pods for a week. I gave up going to hydroponics to see Sadie after they started restricting access to unnecessary personnel, so now I just hang around product storage by the vending machines hoping to see her. But when I do, I just choke up. Darn, I'm so pathetic. I'm reading this book by Ariane Sanchez. It's about the eugenics wars. It's amazing that we're even allowed to do what we do on the Groom Lake with what happened all those years ago. I have to hide the book though. Dr. Milan saw me reading it in the rec room and went totally berserk. Threatened to burn the book and fire me. So now it stays under my pillow, and I'm sure not going to take it on my rounds. Instead, I bring one of the Pangean series by W.C. Dark with me. Is that his real name? I doubt it. I love Major Plauto. He's incredible. Sometimes I wish he had the... I don't like that phrase. To be in the Marines rather than engineering. I'd love to be like him. Rations arrived today. Nobody's impressed. It's all emergency food, so hardly gourmet, but man, I wasn't expecting much, but this is seriously bad. Because food's short, people are going crazy. Lotus punched Malone, broke poor jerk's nose. Steve's having trouble keeping everyone's fists off each other. Keep asking why we can't just raid hydroponics, but they keep shouting me down, especially Sadie. She looks so mad when she sees me, but nowhere near as mad as when she looks at Dr. Milan and Dr. Al-Raj Kupar. She must despise me. Why didn't I just ask her out before? Because you're a coward, Burke. A dirty coward. Power went out again. I'm so scared I can barely breathe. Those rumors of animals prowling around medical, not rumors. I saw one guy ripped apart by one of those things. Couldn't make it out too well. Pale skin, tails, I think. They move around like a pack of dogs, and they're strong. People are scared and hungry. I kept a small stash of food in my quarters. I didn't even tell Steve about it. I feel ashamed for keeping it to myself, but people are getting crazy. Man, I think it might actually be against regulation to hoard food. Miglietta would kill me if he knew I had rations hidden. Come on, the guy's nuts. He practically strangled me the other day. Carswell had to restrain him. Body still frickin' kills from the operation earlier. Yeah. Steve was nominated to reprogram security turrets, and the guy went and did it. He's a hero, not like me. Wow, I'm not just a coward, I'm a murderer. I used those poor jerks in stasis to keep those things from getting to me. I just unlocked the stasis units and began the recovery process so that when they staggered out of the deep freeze, those things were waiting for them. I found a product storage room that nobody was using and locked myself in. When the breach was reported, I heard the screams. I peed myself. Is that any way for a real man to behave? As I ran, I saw Sadie cradling her best friend's bloodied body in the corridor. The worst part isn't that it never occurred to me to stop. I just hoped they'd buy me the time I needed to find a hiding place. That's who Burt Carter was. Whoever finds this, and I know somebody will, he was a coward. I just hope the computer parts in this PDA come in handy to whoever finds this. If my hide was this useless in life, I can at least hope that something I left behind will be useful. And with that delightful note, I'm going to go ahead and pause here, and I will see you next time.